1, go.
Crichton's World Reviews.
Here is my top 10 recommendations of found footage films. Since I think all of these are great, I won't rank them, so don't think number 1 is the best. In my opinion, these are all equally great. Number 1, One Cut of the Dead. It's going to be a little difficult to explain how and why exactly, without spoiling the film. This one is very good, but let's just say that there are still filmmakers around who can do something original and creative with the genre that has been done to death. One Cut of the Dead does something pretty unique. It gives us a glimpse of the many stages of filmmaking that are required to make a genre film like this. We are exposed to the ins and outs and other elements like, for example, the quirks of star actors behind the scenes. But One Cut of the Dead takes it a step further. A real good one. Check it out. Please forgive me for mispronouncing the title if that is the case. Number 2, Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum. This is a South Korean found footage film where a group of paranormal investigators decide to go visit one of the 7 most scariest or freakiest places in the world. They do this because they want to get 1 million views for their streaming channel. And basically the film is about their adventures, and at first it seems very mundane and basic and not really interesting. But the great thing about this movie is that increasingly they ramp up the dread, the tension and everything, and then I think the last half hour it goes fully crazy. And it is marvelous. It's really good. Yeah, definitely one I can recommend. Number 3, The Visit from M. Night Shyamalan. This was a real surprising film from him since it was kinda out of character and they chosen the found footage format. Well, that's one that can easily go wrong. But in this case, it was a very good decision since it does add to the creepiness in a major way. The real brilliance of this film is how it keeps you in the dark and puts you on the edge of your seat to find out what is going on. Yeah, so another one that is really good that I can recommend. Number 4, VHS. For about 10 or 15 minutes or so, you will get overwhelmed by the most horrendous shaky cam you probably have ever seen. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you will get nauseated by this. It's advisable not to have eaten or drunk too much because that won't end well. But if that is not enough, you will have to endure the most despicable human beings on this planet. I was immensely close of giving up on this film until I got my first genuine horror treat. And it was magnificent. This anthology film is heavily underrated if you ask me. People who have been giving this bad reviews probably didn't get past the first 15 minutes. Especially the ones claiming that there is nothing creepy or scary going on. If you keep objective and calm, there is much going on. In the background and on the forefront. VHS is never afraid to go over the top when it's needed, but never forgets to be subtle. At the same time, a lot of interesting issues are depicted. Some of the horror depicted is psychological, and if you allow yourself to think about it, even more terrifying than the supernatural elements. So in short, I am pleasantly surprised since I was not expecting to like this at all, but I did, and so will you if you are a true horror fan. Number 5, VHS 2 is the sequel that is bigger and more spectacular than the original horror anthology. But does that make it better? Yes, it definitely does. One standout segment is Safe Haven. It's atmospheric, bloody, gory, thrilling, and chilling. I also liked how they came up with creative uses of the camera. It brought a great deal of variety into the predictable stories. And if you ask me, if they keep making these anthology films like this and the original, I will keep watching them. Number 6, Wreck. This is the first found footage film that impressed me. It starts out slowly and immediately you begin to wonder what the big horror will be. Once the main characters, the news reporter and the cameraman who you can't see, arrive at the building, you know that something will happen. But you never quite know what will happen since all the people seem real. So you don't expect weird things to happen. Even when it does, there is an atmosphere surrounding the movie that there is a perfect logical explanation for it all. And that everything will be okay. From the first weird event to the next, the tension rises and rises until the climax. The climax is predictable but still makes an impact. How? The ending plays with your childhood fears. You don't need fancy special effects. The only thing you need is light or the lack of. I didn't expect to be scared by this movie, but it did. For me, there were 2 moments that stand out, and those 2 moments were enough to rate this movie higher than Cloverfield or Diary of the Dead. A must watch. Number 7, Wreck 2. There's a tonal shift that makes it less terrifying than the original, but it is still quite good. And I think with this one you will kinda hate the characters, because they're kinda stupid. But the second part does have some real nice surprises that will make you forget about these characters and pretty much redeem this sequel entirely. So while you might be catching yourself screaming at these characters more than you would like to, you will get rewarded for your patience and endurance. Number 8. As above, so below. This is a found footage films where all the events will be seen from a first person perspective. Now this may put you off since this is an overused gimmick that very rarely does it right. That is why I'm happy to report that this is one of the better ones. It tries to avoid the usual trappings by combining adventure elements with horror. The film moves along in a very fast pace, and most of the time the characters don't think or ponder too long about certain events that just occurred. Now, I personally have some mixed feelings about that since I do like it when tension and dread is built up slowly rather than fast. However, the speed also enables you to not give the events too much thought and will often leave you surprised or mesmerized. Although at one point it does become clear what the events entail as the characters get closer and closer to the goal. The imagery that comes with them can be very haunting, creepy, and intense, and the major plus is that even when you don't really get to know the characters that well, you won't get annoyed by them, except maybe Scarlet, the Lara Croft clone whose determination often is more infuriating than admirable. She's the main character and she actually is the one who triggers all the events, and therefore is very deserving of some major punishment if you ask me. Still, I can't deny that I did like her being a strong character who wasn't afraid to get hands-on when needed. But that being said, I wasn't particularly happy with how the film had ended. Still, overall this is a very pleasant watch and very, very worth your time. Number 9. Noroi The Curse. A documentary filmmaker explores seemingly unrelated paranormal incidents. We are witness to this filmmaker and his investigation into the strange events that have occurred. While this is obviously a film, easily could have been a real documentary where you, the viewer, will see what he and his cameraman will see. So when he approaches people, they in general will be nice and polite to him. I'm surprised how helpful some people were. There are occasions where they easily could have declined. It's also very nice that you don't get sound cues. Things just happen, and most of the time events are quite low-key until you get confronted with some truth. I have to say that from the second the investigation starts, I was on board, until the very end. It does take a while for the horror elements to ramp up, but they are very present. The finale might be a little underwhelming with what was promised, but nonetheless, it's a good watch, so one I can recommend. Number 10. Searching. This one really surprised me because I didn't really expect this one to be good, and mostly because of the way it is set up, and you're basically looking at a man who looks at his computer. That's basically what it comes down to. And yet, once it gets starting, once the mystery elements start to kick in, I was invested, like from start to end. And I like the way how they use the internet and everything, like the modern tools we all use. So that was very interesting and very immersive. So definitely one I can recommend.